Man United 1, Leicester 1. I'm joined by Stephen Howson. I think that face sort of sums up the result and performance, doesn't it? United are just so predictably boring and lacklustre at the minute.
Boring.
Yeah. Who was bad for you today?
Everyone not played.
So what's going on then? Because obviously, you look at someone like Arsenal. I know they're 4 points ahead with a game in hand. Fair enough, but that game in hand, we've still got to play them, and I think it's against Chelsea. So it wasn't out of the realm of possibility at the start of play. United could catch Arsenal. They're playing like they've got something to play for, and we're playing like we feel sorry for ourselves and we can't be arsed. Explain that difference.
I can't. I might be able to say, and people are going to think this is me just digging Pogba out, who I know was fasting today, which might give something to him. I had a player that was fasting today.
Yeah,
I had 2 players that was fasting today, actually. 1-8-0, thanks for asking. The thing with Paul Pogba that I would put it down to is he's already come out and said this season is dead. Because for him it is dead. Because it doesn't matter whether United get top 4 or not, it doesn't affect what he's about to go and do, which is leave United and go and play for somewhere that's in the Champions League next year. So that tells you his answer about what he's doing.
Yeah.
So why are you thinking someone who thinks the season is dead, one, gives a toss whether we can finish top 4 or not? He's just playing the season out. And he's not the only one to blame by a long stretch. There was virtually nobody in a United shirt good today. No one. But they all can, I guess, be infected with that mentality. Just that lackluster, no spark, no quality, no penetration, no bravery, no class. Just, I mean, I just did a thing on 5, and Joel goes, Leicester were good today. And I was like, no, they weren't.
No.
Salford City would have beat United today.
Yeah. It felt to me like a performance where both teams have got nothing to play for, and they're just playing for nothing.
Yeah.
And that's what it felt like. And Leicester scored, and then for 5 minutes United looked good, and then we scored, and then went back to looking like Leicester and bored again.
Rio said sometimes after international break you can be a little bit lethargic, and I didn't get a chance to say it because he ended up making a really, really long point. But I was sitting there thinking, half our team didn't go on international break.
Yeah. And half of them didn't even play. How much does not having a striker affect things? Because obviously, especially we're not Pep Guardiola's Man City. We aren't used to playing without a striker. No strikers on the bench or in the starting lineup for United. That maybe makes the knife slightly more dull.
Okay, yes, and literally one thing out of place like that can just throw the whole picture a little bit. But if you've got no striker on the pitch, can you dominate possession?
Yeah.
Because did we do that?
Not really.
Oh, no, we didn't do that. So every game is give and take, okay? So if you take away the striker, you might give you the extra manpower in midfield, and that might overwhelm, and then you can look to maybe use your Elanga and your Sanchos to sort of penetrate a little bit. No, we didn't do that. It was almost like we just didn't know what the fuck to do. For me, it really feels like an attitude problem in the squad. Like, it feels like there's a collective attitude in the squad, which feels a bit reductionist in terms of the analysis.
Yeah.
But it's the only thing I can see. I can't theorize things that don't exist, and I can't point to things that may or may not be there. The only thing I can do is say what I see, and what I see looks like collective tossing it off. You see teams where 7 players have a good game, 3 of them let you down. That didn't happen today. No. That wasn't like 1 or 2 individual mistakes and we should have won 5-0. No, that was the whole lot of them shitting the bed and not looking good.
Yeah. And just a weird lethargic performance. I say weird, we've come to expect it almost now. On that point of like the players and the collective just feeling.
Just start doing performance-enhancing drugs, lads, honestly.
Yeah, well, if they're not already. But I think people underestimate how big confidence and team spirit and, like I said, look at Arsenal. Their squad isn't better than ours. They're not in a much better position than us, but they look like they're fucking loving it at the minute. They are going into every game full of energy, full of excitement, full of will and desire, and they didn't have that last season, and United did, and that was the difference then, and now it's the difference with these 2 squads. How much do you think a new manager coming in? Because that's really the only thing we've got to look forward to the rest of this season is announcing Ten Hag or Poch or Enrique, whoever it is.
Yeah, there might be a different atmosphere in the training ground.
Yeah,
but it isn't going to make McTominay into Pirlo.
No,
and it isn't going to make Maguire a fucking good defender in the system that we're looking to play. You'd probably be a good defender for
Leicester.
No, maybe not the way they play at the moment. Maybe Johnny Evans was the best fucking centre half on the pitch today.
So what have we got to look forward to then? Because
Easter's round the corner.
But we're sat here talking
like a
and
nice
feeling how the players are playing.
Get like maybe an after 8 one or something.
Crunchy's my favourite.
Crunchy, good.
Yeah, I like that. But we're sat here feeling down, feeling dejected, feeling like what's the point with the rest of the season? That's how they're playing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And is there any way back from that? Is there anything Ralph can do to turn this around, or to at least go to the end of the season with some sort of positive?
Take up Amsterdam, let them all smash brass. I don't know. It's unorthodox. Maybe. I don't know.
Sort of a Brian Clough style thinking. Let people go and have a bit of fun.
I don't
Like
know.
Rodman.
From what I can gather, he's given them loads of time off.
Yeah.
Where intuitively, I think you would say they need to work hard, and maybe that's backfired in a way because they don't look like they've had time off. They look like they've been slave driving, and I don't know. There needs to be a cultural reset, and that doesn't happen quickly. And it doesn't happen if you only 25% back whoever you bring in.
Did you expect more from Rangnick than this? Is he letting you down, do you think?
No, I don't think Ralph has let me down. I expected more from him. But when you look at what he's done and here's what people misconstrue, right? It's either all or not on the manager at all, which is neither of those are correct. The manager is an important cog, but only the same way like an important goalkeeper is an important cog or a good striker is an important cog. He is a part of maybe a dozen people in a team that can impact your result on any given day. The manager can drop a stinker and a team can still win. And the manager can play an absolute blinder and your team can get twatted because your centre-halves let people run across him at front post 5 times. And you've lost 5-0. That can happen. There's things that are in his control and things that are out of his control. I would say, I wouldn't give him 10 out of 10 for today. Not picking a striker. It tells me that Marcus Rashford either is not pulling any trees up in training whatsoever for him to go, I'm going to go with 2 midfielders up front. It tells me that he doesn't trust him. It tells me that he doesn't trust Charlie McNeil or anybody else. Like a Hannibal, it's plain as day not working, which means that those that are waiting in the wings must be miles off it, or they're not doing enough in training to come and take that spot. There's going to be a lot of people probably talk about Marcus now with the time running out on his contract. Is he going to want to walk away? And all I would say to him is exactly the same as what I was saying to Donny. You're clearly not working hard enough in training. When you've come on in games, in my opinion, you've not done, I think everyone else's opinion at the moment, you've not done enough to justify starting. So I don't believe you can complain about not starting when the chances that you've got you've not taken this season. Previously, that wasn't the case with Marcus. But the same with Donny is, train 5 days a week, or roughly 5 days a week. There's 5 opportunities there for the manager to like you. There's 5 opportunities to change your mind. I picked a lad to start for us today that had never started a game for us, ever. He'd only played 2 games for us. Last night he trained and was sensational. I said, you're starting tomorrow. That happens at every single level of the game. And that's what happened with Elanga. That, I believe, has happened probably with Tellez and Shaw. And I believe that would repeat itself time and time and time again if the players were there and capable of taking someone else's spot, because it ain't going right with the lads that are starting. People were like, oh, he picked McTominay and Fred. So did Carrick. So did Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. That tells me you're right, he should have played Keenan Scholes. Yeah. He fucked up.
Yeah. I mean, they were available in 26. He should have played them.
So you take Fred and McTominay out of this team. Who do you play instead? Matic?
And Hannibal.
I think we know that Matic can't handle playing 90 minutes every week. He just can't.
No.
So who else do you play? Yeah, Hannibal. He's unproven. Play Charlie Savage and Zidane. All right, and then when we get destroyed and their careers are over, now what? Yeah.
It's too much at the minute, isn't it?
At the minute, it really is. And it's... The fixture list is not fucking kind to us for this running.
No.
We're going to be sitting here with glum faces again. more times than I care to think about.
Europa Conference League?
I better not be, mate. I can't be arsed with Europa League, let alone that fucking pish. I'm going to have to Google these teams to make sure they're not an April Fool.
Yeah.
Like, was it Spurs drew Sheriff, was it, or whatever? And you're like, what?
Yeah. Sheriff beat Real Madrid, didn't they, in the group stages? Yeah. Mad. Right.
Fucking Sheriff.
Yeah. Thanks very much for joining us. Manchester United 1, Leicester 1. We'll see you in a bit.